The story of the AZRA champion, Register of Merit, from the Zenetti Kennel. This is the story of the leading female on the Register of Merit, ROM, a distinction given to dogs that produce champions, list in the Balkans. She is the greatest breeding female in Croatian history, regardless of the dog she was crossed with. She has always produced many high-level competitive dogs in each litter. The beginning, Hrvoje's imports. In the late 1980s, it was Hrvoje, from Croatia, who imported a group of high-pedigree dogs from the United States. He was a friend of the famous breeder Floyd Boudreau and imported a pair of purebred, Pulley son lineage dogs. They were a male named Paddy, also known as Bones, from breeder Zenetti, and a female named Missy, from breeder Floris. I have a video of a training session between Paddy and the dog Leo, from the Going Light lineage, that lasted about 20 minutes, during which Paddy gave up. He wasn't a great fighting dog and didn't have the talent for it. He was a very large dog, weighing 25 kilograms, and definitely not suited for competitions, but he wasn't cowardly or lacking instinct, he just wasn't a fighter. However, he was extremely inbred, crossbreeding between close relatives, which made him perfect for crossbreeding with other lineages, blood shock. Hrvoje crossed Paddy with Missy and then again with his own daughters. Of course, he got many dogs without instinct and who gave up, and none of them had good natural cardiorespiratory capacity. In addition to them, Hrvoje also imported from Spain in the USA, a daughter of the Grand Champion buck named Pulley and a triple inbred son of Barney, Going Light, named Leo. The wrong decision. After a while, Hrvoje decided he didn't need two females, Pulley and Missy. He personally liked dogs of the Pulley son lineage because they looked and acted more rustic, and Missy was much larger than Pulley. Hrvoje had the two fight each other for 45 minutes. Both were good and both kept trying to attack, they made their comebacks, but Hrvoje decided to keep Missy. It was the best investment of Marsonage's life, who bought the other female, and a terrible decision for Hrvoje to keep Missy and sell Pulley. Missy mated a few times, but never produced anything of value. The male Paddy also never produced anything good for Hrvoje. Many said he was a weak dog, but most didn't know the truth about his genetics. The rise of Pulley. The Marsonage Kennel, from eastern Croatia, learned that Pulley was for sale and bought her. Marsonage then called Spain in the USA to inform him that he was now Pulley's owner and asked for breeding suggestions. Pulley was mostly of the Patrick lineage, Bolio x Tombstone. Spain asked if there were any dogs of the Patrick or Pulley son lines in the region. Marsonage said that there was that dog, Paddy, but that he was worthless as a fighting dog. Spain advised him to breed Pulley with that dog, regardless of Paddy's performance in the arena, as his closed genetics would combine well with Pulley. I saw that training session between the two females and liked Pulley more than Missy. She was smaller, but very intense, always attacking and focused on the opponent's chest, however, she lacked bite strength, which was bad for her style. Therefore, I don't think Pulley was a good fighting dog, but she had everything else, great respiratory capacity, a lot of tenacity, her recoveries were super fast, and she had an intense pace. The Pulley x Paddy crosses. Marsonage followed Spain's advice and crossed Pulley twice with Paddy. The first litter, most were sold as pets. The best known were Tina and Uno. Uno was killed by the dog Arthur during his test of courage, where he proved to be brave to the death. Tina won 2 fights and lost one to champion Meji. Tina proved to be a great breeder, producing champion ORCA, 3 wins, champion Yankee, 3 wins, and other winning dogs. The second litter, this one was more fortunate, as the dogs ended up in the hands of serious breeders. In this litter were born champion Penny, champion Jenny, and champion AZRA, Register of Merit. They were born on August 2, 1991, when a brutal war was beginning in Croatia. Penny won 3 fights and lost the 4th against the future Grand Champion Dixie in a fight lasting 2 hours and 45 minutes, dying soon after. Jenny stayed with Marsanija and won 3 fights, proving to have profound tenacity. She won a fight with 2 broken legs. She is the mother of champion Mazza. The story of AZRA. The last female in this litter was AZRA. Marsanija tested her courage very young, at 13 months old, for 45 minutes, and she passed. She was very intelligent, aggressive, and had a male body. A month later, she went into heat and was mated with the dog AGA, 2 wins. At 16 months old, AZRA had a large litter. The puppies contracted a disease, and Marsanija, fearing it would spread to his other dogs, took the sick puppies to the forest, thinking they would die. Some were already dead, but he left them there. Incredibly, an elderly man from the village found a live female, took her home, and saved her. A year later, Marsanija discovered and bought back the female, named Vanda, and won a championship with her, 3 wins, including winning international competitions in the Netherlands. Marsanija preferred the Sorrels lineage at the time and traded AZRA for a female of that breed. The new owners, Jadinko and Vugrek, put AZRA in a fight at 19 months old, and she won in 30 minutes against a much larger female. Her next owner, Mr. Rupp, bought AZRA after seeing the quality of her sister. My arrival. It was around this time that I heard about her. I wanted a puppy from her sister, Penny, but there weren't any available. I found Mr. Rupp, who said he had puppies from Penny's sister, AZRA. I went there. When I saw AZRA for the first time, I fell in love and didn't want any other dog. Mr. Rupp didn't want to sell her, but my offer was irresistible. Jadinko was there with his female Linda, who was being conditioned for a fight. He challenged me to put my newly acquired AZRA against Linda. I didn't want to, because AZRA was fat, had just given birth to a litter, and her skin was in bad shape, while Linda was at her ideal weight, muscular, and had a shiny coat. Jadinko started provoking us, saying I didn't have the courage. I had no choice. We put the 2 to fight. For the first 10 minutes it was balanced, but after that, AZRA dominated. Jadinko withdrew his dog after 20 minutes. I was happy, certain that I had made the right purchase, and I took her home. AZRA's fighting career. AZRA was 3 years old when she came into my hands. Against Sarah, won in 52 minutes. AZRA used her intelligence, tired her opponent, and finished with a throat strike. Now she had 2 wins. The cross with Frisco 2, I bought a son of the famous Frisco ROM, named Frisco 2. I crossed AZRA with him. Frisco 2 later proved to be a quitter, gave up in 45 minutes and then in 20 minutes. Even so, I raised the litter. From this mix came good dogs, such as Dutchman, 2 wins, and Ugly Emma, a small female with deep tenacity who produced the champion Savage Sam. Against Jadinko's female, he wanted a rematch. AZRA was in great shape, but Jadinko didn't show up and I won by default, WO. Against Mary, won in 35 minutes, without prior preparation, straight from the chain, almost suffocating her opponent. Against Dolly, won in just 26 minutes, forcing the other's owner to give up. With this, AZRA became a champion at 5 years old. I decided to retire her and use her as my main broodmare. AZRA as a broodmare. Attempt with Yankee, not possible due to the war between Serbia and Croatia, closed borders. With Tom, Garner lineage. Tom was not a talented fighter, but he was extremely tenacious. From this litter came the Grand Champion Troy, 5 wins, the first official Grand Champion of Italy, and Ludi. Ludi was talented but neurotic. I started him very early. He won some quick challenges, but in long fights he would get exhausted and give up. With Villy, produced Dakota, who faced 2 dogs in a row, but refused to continue in the end, Gator, a great promise who died young, and Annie 4 Guns, one of the strongest biting females I've ever seen and an excellent breeder. With CRNOOKI, Grand Champion produced Champion Bloody Mary, 4 wins, 1 accidental loss, and Nirvana, winner in 6 minutes. With Dendi, Grand Champion produced Manjara, brave to the death, and Benny. With Rios, already old, and after a cross with ELMO, I decided to cross her with Rios. At 10 years old, through caesarean section, only one female was born, Parma. The end. At the end of the summer of 2001, AZRA developed breast cancer. The surgery removed the tumor, but the cancer continued to grow. Champion AZRA ROM was euthanized on November 8, 2001. She was just over 10 years old and still looked young. It was a very difficult time. She is buried in my city's pet cemetery. I never bred AZRA looking only at the pedigree, paperwork. I bred her with dogs that had qualities to improve what she lacked, such as bite strength. AZRA had a medium bite, but produced numerous dogs with a heavy bite. She passed on her extreme tenacity, strong temperament, stamina, and intelligence to her puppies. Her direct descendants hold a record of 29 wins and only 7 losses. At the time this article is written, Champion AZRA leads the Balkan Register of Merit list. She was, and still is, the cornerstone of my kennel.